How we doing, girls? Everybody gets a little spooky. Told you all along, guys. They're not real tame, that's for sure. Hey, but it's 50s, supposed to be almost 60 tomorrow. And that's a whole lot better than a couple of days ago when it was 1 degree when I went out and pitched some hay in the morning. So, matter of fact, it was that morning I kind of thought, you know, if you're going to decide to raise sheep, maybe you should make that decision in the winter instead of the summer. But anyway, it's warmed up. It's a lot better. I'm sure these guys like it a lot better. Today, I'm going to show you the update on the gate in the catch pen, which we got a lot of catching to do here in the next month or two, so that's going to be fairly important. But I also want to take a minute. Let's go up. We're going to look at the young rams. Never really spent much time with that. My son-in-law is the one that's really picked up most of the young rams. Those are his, but we're going to run up there. We're going to take a look, and let's take a minute. I'll show you them, and then we'll go look at the update on the catch pen gate. Stick with me. All right, as I've said before, my daughter and son-in-law live right here beside me. He's got some hair sheep too, the rams use, and I do too. We've done things a little different. I did the black bellies, the mouflons, and I concentrated on picking up ewes over the summer and then one breeder ram. Now my son-in-law wanted Texas Dall, so he has 5 Texas Dall ewes, and there's his ram. So that was his concentration. But earlier in the year, he was hitting some auctions the same as I was, only he was buying young rams. Now here we've got 4 of the young rams that he purchased. There's one in there he actually raised from a bottle baby. There's a painted desert in there, and there's 2 black bellies. Those 2 black bellies came from the same auction where I bought 4 of my black belly ewes. And those rams, we're going to guess they're probably just about a year old, maybe a little more. Probably born October, November last year. So they're starting to get some pretty good horn on them for just 1 year. You know, and he's bought the young rams like this. He also bought 3 older rams just about a month or so ago at the auction. And those are already gone. He brought those in. They were at least a full curl or better. They were brooming out a little at the ends, and we loaded them up about a week or so ago, and they went to Kansas. Went to a high fence hunting operation down in Kansas. So that one got a little tough though. My son-in-law slipped in the mud and landed on top of horn, and his ribs they had to get x-rays. It wasn't nothing broken, but boy, it was sticking out there about 2 inches. So doctors told him he had to be real careful for a while. So, which brings us back to a catch pen. If you're going to work with these things, you really need a good catch pen. And you know, I mentioned before, we used to do it with big tall chain link dog kennel panels, and that worked until I built this. Now when I built this, I'm going to show you real quick. We'll close the gate. I built this solid. Everything is solid walls because they won't bounce off the solid walls that much. So we built this one at first. Got that one closed, and I'll tell you what, it made a big difference. When we worked them in here the last time, they still crowd into a wall, and they may push a little in the corner, but they're not going head first right into the fence the way they did. But when we worked on them here, we found it's a little big. It's okay when you first put them in, but once you get a little bit farther, it helps to cut that space in half again. So what I did is build a second gate. Let's get in a little closer, and I want to show you how that one works, because it had to be worked a little bit differently than the other ones. Okay, this gate had to work a little differently. The problem you run into is when you swing the gate in order to open it far enough so you can get out with the sheep, everybody else is going to be crowding out with you. And we talked about that in my last video with that gate. I built a little thing out so we could slip out the door and make it easy. But I knew when I made this one, that wasn't going to work the same way the last one did. So this one had to be built a little differently. And all these are set so they stay this way. That way they're up so I can grab them and bring them in. But here we bring this one in. You say, well, you built that one a little short because it isn't long enough. But the key is it closes right up into there. I now have a solid gate. We'll see what happens down here. Down on the ground, got about that much. Somebody's going to try to stick a head under that, and I know that ahead of time. So we'll still think on that if there's something we can do. But the sliding gate here was the biggest key. That way, I can set it up. It slides easy. You can go ahead, get your sheep up inside. Once you got one caught, just pull it back enough to get out, slide it back up again, and you got it covered. So that's my update on my gate. Works pretty slick. Well, but that's the gate. That'll have us. We'll get it tested here in about a week, because I think we're going to do some weaning in about a week. Got to do some separating, change around, and then in about 3 weeks, we got to come back in and get vaccinations again. We'll get it tested again then. Come January, I'm thinking of bringing them in again, doing some blood tests in January to make sure who's bred, who isn't bred. For $4, I can send the blood work down to Texas and find out if they're bred. For $3, the vet goes ahead and draws the blood for $7 a piece. I got a dozen ewes, $84, and I'm going to know if everything's bred or not. So I think I'm probably going to do that in January. It'll just be another thing we need to do. Anyway, got a shot, showed you the young rams. Got a shot, showed you the update on the gate. That'll do us for this time. Probably next time back, we'll be looking at weaning babies, and I'll discuss why I'm weaning them now. Thanks for sticking with me. Subscribe to the channel. Hope to see you again real soon.